Hello, everybody. This is your girl, Bless Abundantly. Hey, I just wanted to come on talk right quick about Kirk Franklin, uh, Kerrion Franklin, and Kerrion's mother, uh, the lady that is Kerrion's mother. Uh, Kerrion's mother did an interview on the radio, and let me just make a comment about that. Everybody's been defending Kirk Franklin, and you have Ricky Smiley, Steve Harvey. Everybody has come out, even Larry Reed, Marcus McMillan, mad church disease. And I had commented and said Kirk was doing his job as his father. I'm going to backtrack, okay, because I know, and I'm speaking from a daughter's point of view, okay? I'm not speaking from a parent's point of view because even though I have a daughter, I didn't necessarily raise my daughter. We grew up in the same household because I was 14 when I gave birth to her, okay? So even though, when I was living in Alabama, I used to see her kids all the time and all this stuff. And, I still, you know, do what I can because her daughter had gotten really sick. I send some money when I can to try to support them in their efforts and this transplant, trying to find a transplant for their daughter or putting her on a list because it's hard to, just to get a kidney transplant because you have to have the right type and there's a list of people before you and all this other stuff. Okay, it's not like any other type of transplant. Let's just put it out there. Um, so anyway, I'm gonna talk from a daughter's point of view because I am somebody's daughter. I have a biological mother that I haven't seen in years, but I was raised by another family. I was adopted into another family. And I can say that the relationship with me and my adopted mother is kind of strained right now, okay? There has been some things that happened, and I have some text messages that I sent and some text messages that she sent, but that's between me and her, you know. And when I see her again, I will remind her of what she said by showing her. It's not for the public view. Now, Kerrion was wrong for releasing audio of his father cussing him out for whatever reason, okay? But at the same time, he might be hurting because you have to remember Kirk never married his father, okay? I have found my biological father in 2010, okay? I have 3 brothers that I met in 2010. My father would break his neck to go up to New York State to go to weddings, graduations, and everything else before he'd sit up here and come 3 hours to visit where me and come where I'm living at. And the excuse he gave me was that because he don't know me. It's been, I had got in touch with this man in 2010. We talked a few times on the phone. I could say that he does call more than my adopted mother. I will say that, once in a blue moon, he'll call. My adopted mother don't call at all. Okay? Uh, but to me, he has not made an effort to try to get to know me. I had stayed over his house one time, and that was in 2019, around October or something like that. I had just moved here to where I'm living at now, and I was 3 hours away from him. Okay, if to me, he hasn't made no effort to have that type of relationship. And I know that it's been years I haven't seen, I never knew who he was until I was like 37 years old. Okay, with my adopted mother, Our relationship is extreme. And one thing I noticed about Kirk, Kerrion's mother, and I want to say this to Kerrion's mother. I seen the interview, and I know people was cheering you on, and they had good things to say. I'm gonna say this: I do not want to see you on camera telling Kerrion that you love. We don't want to see that. We want you to show him that you love him. We don't want to hear you say it on camera and on the radio. We want you to show it. And the reason why I say that is because I have experienced people tell me that they love me, but doing something totally different. So he's hurting, and y'all gotta figure out what's going on here. Okay? And even though he's a grown man, people say he's 33 years old, he's 30. I'm sitting here almost 50 years old. I'm sitting here, I'll be 48 in May. And, I don't let a lot of stuff bother me that went on in my life. And I'm not talking about when I was a kid neither. Because I had a great childhood. Yes, I was taken advantage of as a child by a sibling. But other than that, I had great parents in my life. When I became an adult, they thought, it was basically over with. When people tell you that your protection is gone after your adopted father had died, you start wondering what in the world is really going on. And you see somebody allow a person to come into their life that don't respect the people of the family, that sitting up there talking about everybody in the family, and this person is putting up with that and find nothing wrong with this stuff. And the only thing they can do is just tell you that they love you, but they don't never show it. They don't never call. They, if they ever needed something from you, they'll text. They never have no, they always broke whenever you need money from them. And I'm not putting them down. It's like they have sat there and put up with foolishness from the people that they allowed themselves to be around. I mean, there was incidents that happened in Georgia that I was about ready to go to where they was at and tell that person that they was dating a piece of my mind back in 2015 because this stuff was being repetitive. And they got mad. And it's like, to me, it seemed like this person is taking advantage of you. And you don't get mad at me and talk about, I don't have to talk, they not going to deal with me anymore. Or, they don't want nothing to do with me because I wanted to defend them. So it's like, I had, we went our separate ways after 2019. Something happened. I didn't like what was going on. I decided to move. And I let them know, just like they would in a text, in a message. Sent them a message, inbox them a message, and tell them how I felt, and kept it moving. Try to have a come to Jesus moment around the time that my granddaughter got sick, which was back in November. And the stuff that they sent me let me know to just leave them alone, period. Leave them alone, period. So it's easy for somebody to tell you because I had lip service. It's easy for anybody to tell you it. And some parents will give lip service and feel like that's okay and be doing something else. Okay, so to Kerrion's mother, we don't want your lip service. We want you to show us that you love him. Okay, he don't want your lip service. He wants you to show him. I mean, you ain't doing a damn blame thing getting on the radio and all this stuff. I understand you defending Kirk Franklin, but you need to show Kerrion that you love him. We don't want to hear it no more. He don't want to just hear. He want to see it. Love is an action word. If you're not showing it, then you don't need to be saying it neither. And I'm happy that he's not that type that like one of these crazy kids who jump up and want to sit up there and kill a parent and all that stuff. Thank God. Okay. But y'all need to come together and have a come to Jesus moment, regardless of how old he is. Okay, I'm not saying he was 100% right for doing what he did. He could have had talked to Kirk. He could have had sent them a message like I did. Waited until they came face to face to show him exactly what they said and didn't say and all this other stuff. It wasn't for the public to know about what was going on, and it was to sit up there and to damage his image. Okay? And it didn't. That kind of backfired. But all three of y'all need to come together. If y'all have to get all y'all to fix my life, or whatever y'all have to do, go to Bishop T.D. Jakes and have a come to Jesus moment with y'all three and figure out what can y'all do to make this better. What can you do to have a relationship with one another, to do something that will work for all of y'all, to where y'all could begin healing? Because right now he's hurting too. Kerrion's hurting too. Okay, and I see that Larry Reed was the only person who kind of like said something that made sense. Ricky Smiley is just Ricky Smiley, and he took up for Kirk and all that stuff. But you know, Ricky Smiley and Steve Harvey didn't see. Okay, this boy could be hurting because anybody who's happy and everything else, if they parent do get mad or something like that, they ain't record their parents going off and just put it out there so that could mess up their parents' image. I didn't do that at all. There was some stuff I had never said that my adopted mother did. Okay, I mean I had mentioned about you know her and her boyfriend feeling like nothing was wrong with a Ouija board, but and people probably thought, oh, I'm just sitting up there looking for sympathy or something like that. I mean, that wasn't hurting me or nothing. It was just that I couldn't believe that somebody changed what they used to believe into something else. And I mean, they still believe in God and everything, but when they went from knowing that Ouija boards was bad to ain't nothing wrong with them today, it's like, okay, something's wrong with that, because we had a deliverance ministry years ago where we was condemning the Ouija board, and now you for it, and it's like, okay, something ain't right with this. Talk about is how the way they use it. Okay, something ain't right with this. But that wasn't what made me leave. It was something else that was going on that I just said I had enough of this. This person is condemning people in the family, talk about folks in the family like a dog, and I just don't like it. And there was other things that was going on, and I explained those things to her, and I just went my way, got my own place, and that was it. I'm not feeling bad. I ain't hurt by it or whatever. I just realized that, I'm grown, and to not do the things that they had did to somebody else. Had this stuff happened as a teenager, I would have been feeling some type of way as of today, even as of today. But because this stuff happened way past, happened around when I was becoming 40 years old, that it was like, okay, I see what's going on now. But there has been some things that's been going on. Kirk has not married Kiana or Kerrion's mother. I'm sorry, Kerrion's mother. He married somebody else, had some kids with this lady, and even though, that person probably felt like, Kerrion probably felt like he was left out or he don't get the same type of love that these other two get. I feel the same way when it comes to my dad and my brothers. But I know one thing I didn't grow up with though. I often wonder sometimes why he didn't, come and take care of me like he did his older son, because he had two kids in a marriage, but he had an older son outside of the marriage. Way before he got married, he had an older son, and then I was born, and then he jumped up and got married and had two more sons. And so he always was in his older son's life, but he was never in my life. So when I got on Facebook, it said something about the family. My dad out there had a watch party. And we talked on the phone afterwards, and he said, well, if I had something to say, don't go after the family, just come after him, which he is right. It wasn't the family fault that he didn't do his job. Half of the people didn't know I existed until 2016, 6 years after we met. People, his brother and sisters, found out that I was in the land of the living when they was about to bury his nephew. His brother was dealing with the loss of his son, and that's when he decided to tell his brother he had a daughter. I met my cousin on Facebook when I seen that he had posted a picture of him laying up in the hospital, and asked her, was he all right? And she thought that I was his, his girlfriend's daughter. So one thing about it is that, I'm not hurt by it because I don't know them that well neither. And the only thing is that it's like, okay, you didn't do your job as a father. We already know that. You kind of like proved my biological mother right, that you was no good. Okay? You was a good looking man back in your younger years, and the women, my uncle Raymond put it this way. He was like, shoot, he told me he don't know why my mother is still mad. He was like, your father was a good looking man. Both men and women wanted him back in his days. You know. And, he was just one of those ladies' men. But however, I could sympathize with Kerrion about the issues. Okay. We don't want to. I should have turned my notifications off. We don't want to hear you tell him that you love him. We want to see it. Most of all, not just forget about the crowd and me. He needs to see it. Kerrion needs to see it. He just don't want to hear about it. He wants, because Kerrion's mother kind of like sounded and acted kind of like my adopted mother. Somebody who would have had gotten out there or in the public and talked about how much they love me and stuff, but we want you to show it. We don't, show it. Don't say it, show it. So that's all I have to say. But anyway, the best of luck to Kirk Franklin, his son Kerrion, and Kerrion's mother. Hopefully this whole situation, you guys can talk about it with a therapist or whatever else. And that's one thing. I was trying to seek a therapist, but I have to go to somebody who take Blue Cross and Blue Shield. I can't go to Dr. Juanita Bynum. And I should be called her name out because this video is not about her. But I can't go to some of these famous preachers because they deal with other preacher friends and people who got money and clients and all of that stuff who, they deal with those types of folks. And they don't deal with people like me. So, but you guys need to go to a family therapist or something like that, somebody in the church, and, let the healing begin. You know, if you have to go to I don't know, fix my life and for that healing to begin, let it begin, so that y'all can move on with your life and be happy. So anyway, thank you guys for subscribing and share. You know, so for subscribing, please share the video, like and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and hit the bell notification so you will know what video I am downloading. Forgive me for how the way I sound. Forgive my speech and everything. I didn't want to be sniffing like I do. You know, it sounds like I'm snorting something when I'm not. My sinuses is messed up. The next video I will be addressing Danielle Williams McCoy. There was something that she said that I didn't like. I made a video about it because I didn't want to think that that was aimed at me. Okay? But I am the only person in a church world, besides the nuns and the monks, and besides those folks, I am the only person that's probably in the church world between the non-denomination, Church of God in Christ, Apostolic, Baptist, and all of that, especially among black folks, that has probably said on social media that I live a celibate life. And for some preacher to sit up there and preach about it and say that the person, don't nobody want the person because they too ugly and all this and that they look like Shrek. Well, okay, but you look like that person. You look like Shrek too when you take your makeup off. But that's okay. I'm going to address you later. Miss Danielle. Okay? Anyway, you guys have a blessed and wonderful night. Bye.